Good morning. We are starting the day testing out the kiddie pool irrigation procedure. So we got our pump, got an adapter and some hoses ready, and see you down there.
This is what we've called the apparatus in the past. Okay.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Vanna. Ooh,
And it has this weird kind of clamp kind of connection, all right? And it fits onto this metal collar here, all right? And also, if you ever hear somebody mention the word valve, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. This is called a ball valve because it's a rotating ball that has a hole drilled through it. And when you put it in line with the direction of the pipe, that means it's open. If it's perpendicular to the direction of the pipe that it's on, then it's closed. All right. But in the meantime, those are two connections that we'll be working with. This is our bleed valve. Okay. We want to leave that open slightly when we're first starting the pump, and I'll explain why in a moment. Next, we're going to put this on, and to put it on, if you look inside, you'll see that there's a spot where there's a position where it's locked down and a position where it's open. So start with it open, and then you can fit it around the rim on this collar here. And then once it's over there, that's when you clamp it down. There's a larger one down here, which is going to do the same thing. And Seth had the right next to Sean. There we go. Yeah. So this is going to go to the end of whatever hose we're dumping into the kiddie pool. And this gives you one of those rim pieces. All right, again, make sure that this is open. Drop that in there, and then you can clamp it down. Get these rings out. Okay. Put there. Okay. So everything is locked in place. Actually, I want to get this so these faucets are turned the proper direction, but fortunately, all you need to do is flip it over, and then you can clamp it shut again. So now we have normal faucets. All right, again, these work the same way. When they're in line with the pipe, they're open. When they're like this, they're closed off. So we're going to have one of these slightly open for the time being, and then water ought to come out of there and here. All right. Could somebody take this and drop it into the kiddie pool, please? It's plugged in, it's energized? Cool, all right. So we're gonna see some water. Once we turn the pump on, water is gonna start shooting out of here. What's happening is the pump is sucking water out of the kiddie pool, and it's filling up this chamber with water. And then it's gonna start spitting water out of here and a little bit out of this one. Let's see what happens.
Is it self-priming?
Not necessarily, no. That's why we're leaving these things a little bit open. Because it'll get water through that green hose and then into this machine. We're going to open this a little bit. Let's get a hose actually connected to it.
Now we're moving and pivoting back to the trailer project. I have done some measuring over here to get some cuts going. So we're going to have 4 sides that are, 3 of them are going to be removable on this trailer. And what I'm doing right now is I'm getting the front side started, and that involves cutting little corners for the brackets right there. You can see where I've marked that out, and I'm about to get this cut to lengths that are the right size for what we're using it for. And I'm going to show you how we cut using a cutoff disc and using all the proper safety procedures and everything like that. So that's what you're going to see right now. And when you start off, for doing your cuts, you know, get all your measuring and everything done. And I've started that, at least for getting the corners cut. And safety glasses, always. Safety cap goes backwards, or else it gets in the way of the face shield that I'm going to be wearing. When I use a cutoff disc, I use a face shield because when I was like 16, I took an OSHA class, and they really like to show you pictures of people with pieces of cutoff disc in their face. And suffice to say, that will not be happening to me because I will not use a cutoff disc without a face shield now. So I guess it had the desired effect. So I'll have this face shield on, and then also, lastly, some welding gloves, thick, heavy duty. I like to keep all my fingers. And then I might be talking kind of loud, and that's because I've got some earplugs in, want some good hearing protection because I want to be able to hear nature later. But now I'm about to zoom in, and you're going to be able to see me do some cuts with the angle grinder and get those corners ready to install the next part. All right, here we are a little bit more zoomed in on the spot. You can see where I've marked it out with a piece of soapstone. Soapstone's great stuff, better than chalk. And I've got also the primary piece of safety equipment that a lot of people like to not have on their angle grinders is the just regular blade shield, and that really helps to not hurt yourself. So I've got mine on. It especially helps when you have a disc that's the right size, which I do. And so what we'll be doing is we'll turn this on, and I've got it facing, and I'll be cutting away from myself. But I'll be cutting here, here, and here, and you're about to see that. You can see we got a nice, neat little cut where the piece of square tubing is going to fit. I would touch this, but it's going to be real hot. And now I have both sides cut. You can see that with this tubing fits just right, and it'll be able to sit flush for when I weld it on here. And then we'll have this hole in the top, which the top bar of the side rail is going to drop into to add for extra rigidity. All right, check this out. So I've got my corners cut. I've got the verticals for those cut. I've got a vertical for the middle because we want a higher top line so as to be able to take a canopy over the top, and so it'll be high in the back like that too. And then this one is going to go right here. You can see where I cut right here, and then it's going to fit behind that support, and it'll get tacked on and reinforce that one right there, and then we'll build off of this. So I'm about to go grab the welder, and we're gonna get some stuff welded on, and I'll show you some welding safety. Okay, so that last task got sidetracked, and now it's after lunch, and we're working on a new task with Caroline, and we're finishing this shed. We need to put it on 2x4s so it has a little bit more support for what we're doing, and we're not doing a concrete pad. Stay tuned and you'll see some more. Now, in proper fashion, the shed is incomplete, but we figured out what the problem was. D1 or D3 and D1 were switched, and now they're switched back, and everything is all hunky-dory and good, and good night. We'll see you tomorrow.